Welcome to Biztech's Technology Show. Today, the focus is on digital experience and customer experience. And our guest for today is Llorens. He's the Vice President APAC for Contentsquare. Now, if you haven't heard of Contentsquare, it was founded in Paris with offices around the world, and it's a leader in the digital experience analytics. It's got more than 1,000 leading brands using it, and its insights power customer experience over 1 million websites worldwide. Yes, you heard right, 1 million worldwide. Now, Contentsquare is also a unicorn. It's raised 1.4 billion in investment from leading investors, including the likes of BlackRock, KKR, and SoftBank Vision Fund 2. Now, to tell us more about the company, Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian, and pleasure to be here.
Now, Alex, give us an overview of Contentsquare and its history.
Good, fantastic. Well, very simply, Contentsquare was founded in 2012 as a university project by our CEO, who's still there. And right now we've become almost 1,800 employees. And we become the digital experience analytics leader with over 1.4 billion in investment. And right now we are on a mission to expand in Asia Pacific, as we have a global footprint, especially in Europe and the US. So today I'm very motivated and interested in getting away with explaining what Contentsquare does, what problem we solve, and hopefully anybody who sees this understands what is that we solve.
Okay, so let's break it down for us, Alex. What are the problems you're trying to solve, and how are you doing that with your solutions?
Fantastic. Well, I was really looking forward to this question. Thing is, think about it. In a shop, when we enter a physical store or a shop to buy clothes, there is somebody there who can spot that we don't find the product we are looking after, or that we feel frustration on the store. Myself, I do experience that every day, right? And think about it. How do we do that on the online world in real time? What is the answer to spotting frustration, whether it's in a web, whether it's in an app, whether it's in mobile? So it seems like today, when I speak to clients, they only measure traffic and conversion. But we are not blind. We're not blind on the online world. There is a way to actually spot that frustration and bring it up in real time through what means digital experience analytics. And that's the role we play, and that's the solution that we bring to the market. So through this, every 100 visits in a physical store, 30 of them purchase something. Online, every 100 visits, only 2 or 3 purchase. So there is a massive difference, right? So there is a lot of work to do online. And that's exactly the problem that we solve with Contentsquare. We basically say that we bring human KPIs, we bring human behavior and human understanding of how us buyers behave online, whether it's in an app, whether it's in a web, and we bring that to businesses. So we bridge that gap, Brian.
Okay, so one of the interesting things that you've just said, and also I saw on your website, is around the concept of making every click count, because you've just shared with us some startling numbers of conversion rates from a sale. And so if you make that, if you start to strive to make every click count, your conversion rate goes from 1 to 2 to a much higher conversion rate. And I also noticed, as I did the research on your solutions, you have a unique thing around measuring hesitation time. So walk us through this and how you actually help customers improve their conversion rates online.
So here's the thing, Brian. In the online world, for years, the solution to this was bring more traffic, bring more customers online. So acquisition, what has been the way to actually get more conversion. You basically expand the top of the funnel, right? Getting more and more users in your online assets, whether it's an app or a web. Now, nobody looked at the human behaviors, like hesitation time, like frustration through rage clicks or hesitation in content. So what we really do is we track through our technology, we track absolutely everything that happens in the online asset, meaning in the web or in the app. We basically track every movement of the mouse, the speed of it, the hesitation of it, and we can answer why things happen the way they happen. Why are my customers dropping? And nobody else out there with the traditional analytics stack, with a VOC solution, with other solutions, can answer that question. What we are trying to answer is, why is this customer frustrated? And therefore, why is this customer leaving my web or my app without converting? And there are a ton of KPIs that we have basically brought up to businesses. And we see them adopting these KPIs other than the traditional ones like traffic and conversion. We see that businesses in Asia Pacific start to think beyond those metrics to actually understand the local consumer behaviors online of all these complex regions, right? So that's basically how we do it, Brian.
And also what you use is you use a methodology around innovate, troubleshoot, and automate, isn't it? Walk us through this and how you really help customers then, because as you just said, it's about and alluded to, Southeast Asia is and Asia Pacific, it's very different behaviors among different markets. So tell us how this methodology helps your individual customers sell across the region.
Sure. So here's a fun fact that I can tell you about. A French person, before purchasing a product online, we looked at an average 3 pictures. Chinese, we look at over 20 pictures of a product before purchasing. How interesting is that?
Absolutely.
So that's right. The technology has to be simple to implement. It's got to bring automation, and it's got to be real time. And at the end, businesses need to get back to basics. I experience it every day. When I log onto my Netflix account, onto my banking account, I get these errors. And the way businesses are solving those errors, that process is not optimized. So we will basically surface through automation that basic troubleshooting. But what differentiates Contentsquare from anybody else is that we actually bring recommendations on how to design your web or your app in a way that achieves the goals that you set up for your online asset. In this case, engagement in insurance or conversion in retail. So
this is interesting, Alex. So there is actually a suggestion then based on this behavior. So there is an element of analysis and AI, to use the buzzword, of course, around suggesting this is your scenario. May I suggest, and the system suggests for you this.
Correct. So that's exactly right. Not just the implementation, we make it extremely simple to actually implement Contentsquare, you can actually do it within a day, but also to then start automating these things. Meaning you don't need all these agencies and analysts to crunch the data, because every time I speak to my customers, their challenge is that they're using traditional analytics tools to measure this, right? But the cost of these tools is ever increasing. They need to create funnels. They need to do all these complex tagging plans. And they end up only seeing a small percentage of everything that is happening online. That we solve through Contentsquare with basically what we call journeys, where it's a collection of funnels where you can then dive onto the specific session replays of what happened, why this customer couldn't do his or her checkout. Was there an API error? There was a citation. What was it? What was it really that happened? And that's what I come back to. We answer the why, while the existing technology stack in enterprises today, they answer the what. They know what happens, where it happens, but they cannot answer why it happened.
Okay, then give me an example of the whys and how you have helped a brand or an organization and really improved their customer experience.
Fantastic. So one example is a local telco in Singapore. You know, as I was saying, marketing keeps investing in bringing and acquiring new customers and driving traffic onto their app or their web. In this case, the telco was running a lot of promotions for prepaid advertising in different channels. Yeah. Now they even created this landing page, is the promotional page basically, and out of the 100% of the customers who landed on mobile, 92% exited. Now, we didn't start with that 92%. There was another 5% who experienced a looping behavior, meaning through Contentsquare, we spotted why that looping behavior happened when they actually landed on a promotional page. And we realized that there was an actual error on the web where every time they click for more information of the product, the web was reloading. Now, Contentsquare can do that in real time. In just a few hours, we were able to spot the problem and solve it. When with traditional methods, it would have taken days. All those dollars invested in that promotional campaign would have been wasted. And that's just one of the many use cases. In fact, we calculated the uplift and the ROI of just this, which was over 100,000 in a matter of hours. But then we looked at as well the other 95% of the users who landed on the promotional page and left, but didn't experience any looping behavior. We were able to spot that landing page, the loading time of the page was above the benchmark, because that's another thing we do. We can basically benchmark those KPIs. We start to understand what are the best practices in terms of these human KPIs that you should be benchmarked with. So this telco had to basically look at those loading times, and we were able to provide recommendations to the platform immediately on what was making that web slow. So the overall ROI and the overall campaign was, and the overall takeaway of this is, it took minutes to spot the problem. With traditional methods, would have taken days. And the ROI, you could imagine, basically, was on the hundreds of thousands of dollars, because there is a lot of budget put into acquisition. In fact, acquisition cost is one of the challenges right now. It's getting more and more costly, basically.
So Alex, so far in our conversation, that seems to be a theme that sticks in my mind really, because marketeers are spending ever increasing dollars. We marketeers have, however, now with economic situation, having to adjust budgets downwards. So they really need to look for better ROI from their marketing investments. They also need to look at how existing dollars are more effective. And obviously then Contentsquare has an advantage in this area. If I'm a marketer, I'm a CMO, why should I pick you? There are other solutions like you out there.
Yeah, well, that's right. Now, let me tell you why we're different. First of all, from a company perspective, Contentsquare is the leader. Not only Gartner peer reviews, G2, where we are leaders in 11 categories, et cetera, et cetera. That's what. And from a company perspective, we basically have two lines of business. We tackle the big enterprises through Contentsquare platform, and we acquire Hotjar, which is the leading self-serve solution for small and medium businesses. So Contentsquare is focusing at the biggest players out there. Those other competitors are probably 1/10, if not a smaller or size, and you need a scalable solution that's basically provides the security grade that you need and the privacy, right? That's point number one in terms of the company. We are basically based out of Asia Pacific with markets like Japan, Australia, Singapore, but we also have teams in Korea and now expanding into other markets. So then from a product perspective, what I see and why our customers come to Contentsquare from other solutions is because those other solutions are just that, session replay solution, meaning they can replay user behavior, but at the end, they actually have to watch thousands of those session replays. What we provide is our own proprietary frustration score that will help them prioritize them. But also, we're the only ones that actually provide journey analysis, which is a bird's eye view rather than that spaghetti of a funnel that customers have. And actually, they don't like to create those funnels. I keep hearing customers complaining about how I can replace that funnel creation. We put more emphasis on automation. So the way one can just analyze what happened in the last 3 hours, in the last 7 days, and have a bird's eye view of all those funnels, everything that happened, whether it's on web, whether it's on mobile, that's something we provide. Plus, at the end, we differentiate by not just tracking the errors and the bottom of the funnel, which is more the operational error, Brian. We and our product is designed with very unique features that will help you design the web, the app to achieve your goals. One example is what we call zoning analysis. And I know the listeners may be thinking about, oh, another heat map tool. Well, go check it out, because there are a lot of heat map tools. But if you actually want to understand how the new content that I placed in my website or my app does contribute to my conversion rate or my engagement rate, Contentsquare is the only one who's going to be able to show you revenue attribution to that content and how that content actually performs. So we basically bring more teams together at the end. Product management teams, analyst teams, marketing teams, they all come together to actually use Contentsquare and see the exactly same data that will help them improve their customer experience.
Now, Alex, we're coming to the second half of 2023. Contentsquare is relatively new in the Asia Pacific region. What are your plans for the region, and what exciting developments is in store for Contentsquare in the next 6 months?
Well, we are so excited. This moment, Brian, is amazing for Contentsquare. And I feel so lucky to be in a company where we're a global company. We have almost 2,000 employees. We are very well established in Europe. We're in the States, and all over the world. Now, in Asia, it's been a couple of years. And we bring this platform and this technology to enterprises who actually looked at it, and they do fall in love with it. So every time we show our technology and the problems we solve, it's new to them. But they do acknowledge, wow, this can really help accelerate that continuous innovation that we are, that it's a heavy lift basically for them. So in Asia Pacific, we see markets like the more developed markets, like Australia, Japan, Singapore, where we are very well established. Now, in the emerging, fast-growing Asia PAC, meaning the emerging markets, we see a lot of traction. We see a lot of traction because they all want to localize. There are players and unicorns in this market that are now regional. I mean, look at Indonesia, look at Philippines. We start to find companies that are super apps, right? And they are actually regional. So we start to have some very good successes in this emerging market. And in fact, the focus is going from these established markets where we are already to actually expand into those. And I'm referring to, India, Philippines, Thailand. We start to see a lot of traction in this market. So it is so exciting for us to have this cool technology that solves in a very innovative way an actual problem that exists in every business out there. Every business is going through this, and they need to understand better their customers to get smarter, and they need to optimize, and they need to work leaner in 2023. So it is very exciting time for Contentsquare in Asia Pacific, Brian.
Alex, it's been a fascinating conversation. Really enjoyed it, really learned a lot as well. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Brian. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks a lot.
I'm Brian Fernandez, and we've been speaking to Alex Llorens. He's the Vice President, APAC at Contentsquare on Biztech's Technology Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.